Triple E EDC back again with another knife video. This is the Benchmade turret, the Benchmade Contigo, and the Benchmade Presidio 2. The Contigo is the Knifeworks exclusive version. I wanted to go ahead and show you, a couple people ask me what's a good hard use folder to start with, and a lot of people want to start with Benchmade. I know not everybody loves Benchmade, but I do happen to have these folders in front of me and thought it'd be a good demonstration to go over some of the differences between these and show what's right for you. So first of all, let's go ahead and talk about some of the options, what's available on these knives. So on the Benchmade turret, this is G10 with stainless steel liners. This is an S30V blade. Is sort of a modified drop point, spear point sort of combination. It comes in both satin blade with a plain edge or DLC coated blade with a combo edge. And this is the Benchmade Contigo. This is the Knifeworks exclusive version. It's no longer available, but you can get it on the secondary market. It is the M390 version. This is available in two colors, the black and blue or the black and gray. And then they have the normal version is an M4 steel. This is M390. The normal version is an M4 steel, and M4 steel is Cerakote. Their M4 steel is Cerakoted in two colors, black or gray, and it comes, and both of them come with a black handle. The Benchmade Presidio 2, this version of it is in the aluminum handle with stainless steel liners. The new version comes with a CF Elite handle and stainless steel liners. The new version is much lighter than this version, but they both have, I would say they both offer similar strength. I don't think the aluminum adds much to the overall strength of the knife, while the CF Elite reduces the weight significantly. So let's talk about which of these knives is right for you. So as far from a weight perspective, the Presidio 2 in the aluminum is going to be the heaviest out of these knives. However, if you get the CF Elite version of this, the Benchmade Contigo is probably going to be the heaviest, with the Presidio 2 in CF Elite and the turret coming in practically near each other. I don't have the exact weight measurements, but it's going to be negligible. The blades on them they're very different blade shapes for the most part. A little bit similar on these two, but you get a reverse tanto blade here, very large 4-inch reverse tanto blade. These blades are a little bit smaller, but you get that, like I said, that modified drop / spear point blade here, and the true spear point blade here with the swedge. Depending on your cutting task, you're going to want to choose which blade. All of them have significant strength in the tip, which is definitely good design, because each of these are sort of designed to be tactical knives. The tip strength in these is going to be great. All of them have an axis lock, so the up and down strength on them is going to be great. The turret is supposed to be the strongest Benchmade axis lock to date. I think even stronger than the Adamas. I will mention the Adamas here as another hard use folder. However, it is significantly bigger and heavier as far as in the pocket than these. These are more EDC-able knives in the large range, whereas the Adamas is. And I'll say I'm one of those people that for a while thought I could EDC an Adamas. Look, it can be done, but it's not really so feasible. So just be aware of that. It can be done, but it's not really so feasible. Any of these could be EDC'd. Obviously, you want to take weight into account with the Presidio 2. Like I said, the up and down force on the axis lock, all these are going to perform well. The lateral force, I will say that I don't have any concerns about the Presidio 2, but the blade stock on the Presidio 2 is a little bit less than the blade stock on these other knives, as you can see here. And so I would just say that with regard to the Presidio 2, I might be a little bit more careful. That being said, I don't have any concerns, not even significant concerns. I don't have any concerns with the lateral strength there. But just as a fair warning, if you're using your knives to pry, you're using them wrong. A lot of people will say, I pry with my knife, it is what it is. And if you're going to pry with a knife, these aren't terrible knives to do it with. But knives are not for prying, so it's a huge safety hazard. Knife could snap, come up, hit you in the face, or worse. you know, and just be aware that that's a thing. All right, let's talk about the handles. So the turret itself has the best ergonomics by far. It has sort of this curved handle. When you put your hand on it, I have a size large gloved hand. It locks in, and it feels like your hand belongs there. I mean, I was kind of shocked at how good the ergonomics are on this turret once I got my hands on it. Also, it's great for the way your hand locks in. It's great for downward cuts away from your chest. It's good for push cuts, push piercing cuts like this. It has a nice guard right here with really good jimping that it's aggressive jimping, but not jimping that hurts your finger. And this blade right here, you know, you have to come up over the guard, but the jimping here is, I believe, for pull cuts, sort of like what the Microtech Socom Elite has over the guard of the Microtech Socom Elite. The ergonomics on the Benchmade Contigo, I would say, are fair. Oh, by the way, this is good for both with gloves and without gloves, in case anyone was wondering. And this one is more of a glove knife. I will say it. You know, I've used it most of the time that I've used it without gloves. But you know, it has jimping everywhere, and as you can see, even if you bring up the side profile, it's not jimping that's against the side of the against the scales. This is jimping that really protrudes out quite significantly. And so when you bear down on this knife, you get this. You know, I don't know if you guys can see over there all the, you know, lines. That's you bear down on that knife, and you do it for any longer than that, you're going to have some significant marks in your hands. So it's definitely not the most comfortable without gloves, but it is quite comfortable with gloves. But again, the ergonomics are only fair overall. It has sort of the cutout for fingers here and the cutout for fingers here. My fingers don't really fit perfectly in there, and I think a lot of people are going to have somewhat trouble with that. So I think I would have preferred if the handle were a little thicker and, you know, it ran more towards the back, a little bit like the, you know, with one cutout for one finger and then 3 straight fingers after that, kind of like the Benchmade Freak. I think that would have been a much better handle design. But again, this is an older design. This is an Osborne design. It still is a good design, but it's something to be aware of. The Presidio 2 has, I would also say, fair ergonomics. This one sort of is a blend between these two. The ergonomics, you know, it definitely locks you in like the turret, but it doesn't feel quite as comfortable as the turret. I was a little bit, I thought it would be more comfortable than it is when I hold it. It's one of the reasons I decided to sell it, but it's not bad. It's actually, you know, fairly comfortable overall, but I wouldn't call it more than fair as far as comfort on ergonomics. The jimping is pretty good. It's not overly aggressive like the Contigo is, but I kind of like, I'll say I do like it. I do feel the clip on this one though. So on the other two, I don't really feel the clip pretty much at all. And on this one, I do feel the clip a little bit. So that's something to keep in mind. One difference, by the way, on this is the aluminum here is smooth. On the CF Elite version, you have sort of dots and dimples in addition to this texturing here, so just be aware of that. And the CF Elite version, as a result, feels, I believe, a little bit more grippy, even though the scales themselves feel a little smoother. Okay. Let's talk about the steels involved here. So obviously M390 and M4 in the Contigo are going to far outpace the S30V that's in the other two. But for tactical applications, S30V is a great choice. It's stainless. It's you can field sharpen it. It is you know, it'll hold an edge pretty, you know, very well. Not quite as well as M4, but it'll hold an edge very well. While the M390 here is stainless, the M4 actually isn't, and that's the reason they Benchmade Cerakotes it. So, you know, those are just some of the things to keep in mind. That being said, M4 is probably, if it's not my favorite steel, it's close to it. Of course, I live in Houston, so, you know, one of my favorite knife steels is a steel that doesn't like humidity, but it is what it is. That being said, M4 is a great steel, and M390 are great steels as well. M390 is, I don't think it's a much better choice for tactical applications than S30V. I think you have diminishing returns on M390 for tactical applications. For M4, probably, it is worth the upgrade. Just something to keep in mind. So for EDC purposes, M390 is a great choice. For tactical applications, I'm not really sure that M390 offers any significant advantage over S30V. And in fact, S30V is a little easier to sharpen, so may actually be a little bit more advantageous. I think that's pretty much it for a comparison. If you're asking what my recommendation would be, if you're looking for an EDC, I don't particularly love any of these for EDC. I would probably say the Presidio 2 is most likely to be EDC-able out of these, and I'd probably get the CF Elite version. As far as for tactical applications, I think the Benchmade turret is the winner, and I do like the Benchmade turret better than the Benchmade Adamas for tactical applications. That being said, I am not a tactical expert, so I would welcome anyone who is a tactical expert to drop their opinion below. Let me know what they find important in a tactical knife. I'd love to have a discussion about it, but I have an idea of what types of things are going to be needed in a tactical application, not just, fighting, of course. People hear tactical and they think fighting. No, tactical is going to be all the stuff you're doing, that you encounter on a daily basis that are rugged, outdoor stuff, indoor stuff. There's a bunch of applications, just harder use applications that I think of when I think of tactical. So that's what I think of when I think of tactical, is more of those, going in and cutting seat belts and cutting rope and and maybe even using it to dig up dirt in the ground. Those types of using it on in the woods as a folder when you're out camping or hunting or anything like that. That's more of what I would think as a tactical application rather than fighting. Because if you're fighting with a knife, this is sort of my 2 cents. Knives really aren't for fighting. If you pull out a knife in a gunfight, you're gonna lose. So, and if you pull out a knife in a knife fight, you're gonna get cut. So, no matter how good you are, so just be aware, tactical does not mean knife fighting. That's sort of my 2 cents on that. If you found this helpful, definitely appreciate if you subscribe. I do a lot of giveaways, so it's definitely a good idea to hit the notification bell when you do subscribe, and so that you get all my content. And if you would like to drop a comment, discuss any of the things that I talked about with these knives or any other knives, I'm happy to do that. Hit the like button. Go ahead and get those YouTube search results up for me. I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much.